Finding peace and purpose in God's presence in the journey of life, we often face a whirlwind of responsibilities, emotions, and challenges. From the moment we wake up, there are tasks awaiting us, worries that linger, and uncertainties about the future. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or even lost in the midst of everything we juggle. Yet, in this world that moves at an ever-increasing pace, God offers us a gift that transcends the chaos, His presence, which brings both peace and purpose. 1. God's invitation to come close. God's invitation to draw near to Him is a recurring theme throughout the Bible. He invites us to experience His love and rest, a profound comfort that speaks to our deepest needs. In Matthew 11:28-30, Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." This verse is more than a gentle promise. It's an invitation to a transformed life, one where we are no longer held captive by the weight of our burdens. When we bring our worries, struggles, and pain to God, He offers us a sense of rest that the world cannot provide. Life often brings seasons of weariness where our strength feels depleted, and we feel inadequate for the tasks ahead. However, God does not expect us to navigate these moments alone. His love is ever present, ready to fill us with renewed hope and perseverance. In coming to God, we don't have to prove ourselves worthy or strong. Instead, He meets us where we are, embracing us with open arms, and in that divine embrace, we find strength and renewal. Finding peace beyond understanding. One of the most beautiful aspects of God's presence is the peace it brings, a peace that is different from anything else the world can offer. Philippians 4:6-7 provides a profound insight into this. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. This verse encourages us to approach God with our needs and anxieties, releasing them into His hands. In doing so, we receive a peace that is beyond human comprehension. This peace is not dependent on our circumstances or the absence of challenges. Instead, it is rooted in the character of God Himself, a God who is faithful, loving, and unchanging. When we choose to trust in Him and surrender our fears, He fills us with a calm assurance that we are not alone and that He is in control, even when everything else seems uncertain. This divine peace is a reminder that God is with us, gently guiding us through every storm. 3. God is our source of strength. We often rely on our own abilities, skills, and resources to overcome challenges. But even the strongest among us can find themselves facing situations that exceed their capacity to handle alone. Isaiah 40:31 beautifully captures God's promise to renew our strength. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. This verse encourages us to place our hope in God, knowing that He is the source of our strength. When we rely on God, we are no longer limited by our own strength, for He gives us the power to rise above obstacles, just as an eagle soars above the ground. God's strength is inexhaustible, and He offers it freely to those who seek Him. In times of difficulty, He enables us to press on, giving us the resilience to keep moving forward. Our limitations are not a barrier to God. Rather, they are an opportunity for Him to work in us and through us in ways we never imagined. 4. God's purpose for our lives. Each of us has been created with a unique purpose. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight of this purpose, especially in the face of disappointment or failure. But God has a plan for each one of us, a plan that is good and full of hope. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us of this truth. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This verse speaks to God's desire for us to live lives that are meaningful and filled with hope. God's purpose for us is not always what we expect, and it may not unfold in the way we imagine. However, we can trust that His plans are always for our good, even when we face challenges or delays. God sees the bigger picture, and He is working in our lives to bring about growth, strength, and maturity. Our lives are a part of a much larger story, one that God is weaving together for His glory, and for the good of those who love Him. 5. Embracing faith over fear. Fear is a powerful emotion that can hold us back from fully embracing God's purpose for our lives. However, God calls us to live by faith, trusting in His promises rather than allowing fear to dictate our actions. In 2 Timothy 1:7 we read, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." This verse is a reminder that God empowers us to overcome fear through His Spirit, which fills us with courage, love, and wisdom. Living by faith does not mean that we will never experience fear, but it does mean that we do not have to be controlled by it. When we place our trust in God, we can move forward in confidence, knowing that He is with us. He is our protector, our provider, and our guide, leading us through every situation. By choosing faith over fear, we allow God to work in us and through us, accomplishing things that we could never achieve on our own. 6. Practicing God's presence in everyday life. Experiencing God's presence is not limited to moments of prayer or worship. It is something we can cultivate in our everyday lives. God desires to be a part of our daily routines, whether we are at work, with family, or facing our daily responsibilities. Practicing God's presence involves intentionally turning our hearts and minds toward Him throughout the day, acknowledging His nearness and seeking His guidance. Simple practices such as taking a few moments to pray, reflecting on a Bible verse, or expressing gratitude can help us stay connected to God. By inviting Him into our daily lives, we begin to experience His peace and guidance more consistently. This relationship with God is not about perfection, but about growing closer to Him, learning to depend on Him, and allowing His love to shape our thoughts and actions. 7. Reflecting God's love to others. As we experience God's love and peace, we are called to share it with others. Jesus taught us to love our neighbors as ourselves, to extend grace, and to be a light in a world that often feels dark. Our relationship with God is not just for our benefit. It is meant to overflow into the lives of those around us. When we show compassion, offer forgiveness, and serve others selflessly, we reflect God's love and bring hope to those who may be struggling. Sharing God's love does not always require grand gestures. Often, it is in small acts of kindness, a listening ear, or an encouraging word that we make the greatest impact. By living out our faith, we become vessels of God's love, drawing others closer to Him and helping them experience His peace. 8. Concluding thoughts. Resting in God's unchanging presence in a world that is constantly changing. God remains the same. His love is unwavering, His promises are sure, and His presence is constant. As we navigate the ups and downs of life, we can find comfort in knowing that God is with us, offering peace, strength, and purpose. He invites us to draw near, to trust in Him, and to allow His presence to transform our lives. As we grow in our relationship with God, we discover that He is not only our Creator but also our Sustainer and friend. He walks with us through every season, guiding us, comforting us, and filling us with His peace. When we surrender our lives to Him, we find a purpose that goes beyond ourselves, a calling to live for His glory and to share His love with the world. May we continue to seek God each day, resting in His presence, finding strength in His promises, and embracing the purpose He has for our lives. And as we do, may we experience the fullness of His peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding, filling our hearts and minds as we trust in Him. This message, focused on finding peace, strength, and purpose in God's presence, can offer comfort and encouragement to those seeking a deeper relationship with God. By drawing near to Him, we find the guidance and hope needed to face life's challenges with faith.